Warning, the Stone Age Gamer includes a lot of bad language. Cover your mother ears.
Good evening and welcome to the Stone Age Gamer Podcast. I am Chris Randazzo. I'm shouting for some reason, and joining me tonight is absurd hairstyle Dan Ryan. Which one am I talking about, Dan?
Yeah, I don't know. I'm not sure.
We watched the Monster Hunter movie.
The Monster Hunter. I love Monster Hunter.
We watched the Monster Hunter movie because Dan said we should. And since Dan never has bad ideas, we watched it. Never. And by gum, we're going to talk about it. Set yourself up for a sequel because the Stone Age Gamer Podcast starts now.
See, I don't have bad ideas. I only have good ones.
Hi, everyone. This is episode 354. It's the week of April 16th, 2021. How you doing, Dan?
Oh, man, I am so tired, Chris.
Yeah, me too.
Just, usually, we're adults with jobs and families, and, usually on Monday, it's well, I'm tired. Because I'm always fucking tired, right?
Yeah.
Our listeners understand that, because they're like us. They're just tired all the goddamn time. But, today, for real, though.
Yeah.
Dogs, thunderstorms, went back into the office today.
There was a thunderstorm in our area last night, and my dog, and Dan's dog, and my mom's dog kept us all up last night.
Yeah.
We weren't all in the same house. But
no, we were. That was the weird part, is we were all together.
Dan, my mom, and all of our dogs.
3 humans, 9 dogs. It was fucking ridiculous.
We all got vaccinated. We figured that was the first thing we wanted to do.
To have a doggy sleepover on a Sunday night when we had to go to work the next morning. It's a terrible idea.
I'm just kidding. I'm not vaccinated.
We did have the sleepover, but Chris is not vaccinated.
I figured it was worth the risk.
It was so fun. We played all those games. It's great.
Lots of fetch.
Oh, so much fetch. It was so fetch. No. It was the first day back in the office. My coronacation is officially over, which is kind of how I've tried to view it, which I don't mean any offense by it, but it really wasn't terrible for me, and now it's over. And I got home from work today, and I was like, oh, I missed my family today. That was weird. It sucked. Ah, well, back to life, but 4 hours of sleep, it's not great. It's not great.
Nah, it's not really enough to properly function. And here we are, getting ready to do a podcast. Yeah. We got serious stuff to talk about, Dan.
Do we?
No.
I mean, I didn't even play games last week. I really didn't. I didn't have much time. My kids were on spring break, so we were doing other shit. Unlike some people I know where his wife took the kids all day and he just got to hang out.
Oh, man, I can't wait to talk about that. Go on.
No, I really didn't play much. I mean, I played some baseball and I played some pad, and I bought Narita Boy. I'm really excited to play it. Have you seen anything for Narita Boy?
God, that sounds familiar. I don't know. I probably have.
It's like
if I wasn't moisturizing my hand right now, I'd be looking it up. But my hand is very dry.
Is it? You got dry old man knuckles?
I always have. Even though it's been humid all day long today, I did a little bit of gardening yesterday, and they just haven't recovered yet.
Oof.
Moisturize me!
Moisturize me. No, it's this really hyper retro techno fucking looking thing. I don't know. I'm really excited about it. Fight with the techno sword.
Oh, yeah, this just came out on Switch, too.
Yeah. Oh, it was on sale. It looked cool. So I bought it and then didn't play it because
as you do.
I was like, oh, I'm really because I fucking forgot, right? Because the one thing I am somewhat thankful for of going back to work in the office and sort of trying to get life back to some sort of normalcy is that I just don't know what is happening anymore. So like it was Wednesday night and I was like, oh shit, WrestleMania is this weekend. That means the NXT stuff is tonight and tomorrow. Fuck, all right, I'm watching that. So Wednesday and Thursday I watched NXT, and then Saturday and Sunday I watched WrestleMania on Peacock because they did away with the WWE network in the United States and moved it all to Peacock. And I gotta tell you, one of the best things, just one of my absolute favorite things in the world, is when you have a service that does what it's supposed to do pretty well, right? You can start and stop, you can rewind, you can join live events midway through, go back to the beginning. You can pause live events, you have a whole bunch of content, all of that stuff is great, right? And then you move it to a brand new network, Peacock in this instance, and you have none of those fucking things.
Yeah, when it's called
none
Peacock,
of them.
you already know you're in for
a treat.
It shows you exactly how much thought they put into it when they named it Peacock.
Exactly. You can't not watch. That's their fucking slogan. You bet your ass I can, you pricks.
I've been doing it since it launched.
Yeah, right? I only watched because it's WrestleMania. And because I was a WWE Network subscriber, I got 4 months of Peacock for $5. I was like, all right, fine, whatever. It's a garbage streaming service. Garbage.
And who wants to stream garbage?
Nobody.
I've got plenty of that.
Right? And like, I think we're officially at the point now of oversaturation with streaming services.
I think we're past that point.
Like we're so far through the fucking looking glass that it's like, all right, going back to piracy.
You know
like,
what?
I tried not to.
Before you go too much further, I want to talk about the opposite of that.
Okay.
So like Dan mentioned, my wife took the kids to her mom's for a couple of days for spring break. Because she was on vacation, the kids were on spring break, and I still had to work. And I worked all day, every day that she was gone. I worked nonstop until like late at night or while I was eating. And while I was eating, I did a couple of things. One of those things was I started watching Invincible, and that is on Amazon.
Yeah.
And
another garbage interface.
You know, it's some of it is, in fact, a garbage interface, like the homepage and whatnot. But actually, while watching it, the fact that I can just tap on the screen, like on my remote, and it will show who is in that scene, like
right,
the actors
in that scene
and the music in that scene. Yep. Like that's
that part's
really
great.
Freaking cool. That is
super
outstanding. Cool. And you know
what?
The Invincible
show is great.
Oh my God, it's fantastic. We're all caught up, which is great. Karen watched the first episode with me, and she was like, yeah, I don't know about this. And then I started watching it on my own, and I was like, give it one more, because you didn't meet the actual cast of the show in the first episode. You meet everybody else in the second episode, and she's like, okay, I'm in, after we watch the second one. But yeah, that was a really, really cool feature, and I kind of miss that in other things, especially if you're watching something animated. You know, you watch something on that's live action, and you're like, okay, that's his name. I don't know what he's from, but at least I know his name now.
Right.
But you're looking at this animated thing, and it's like, oh, all right, well, that is Clancy motherfucking Brown.
Yeah, I thought it might be, and now I don't have
Walt
to
Goggins
look up.
Blows my mind in that show, by the way.
Oh my God.
I was like 3 episodes in before I figured out it was him, and now I can't unhear it because there's just he doesn't sound like Boyd Crowder. He sounds like there's something a little different about his voice, like the bit of his accent is gone or whatever. That guy's amazing. Anyway, sorry to interrupt.
They're putting good work into that show.
I have many positive things to say about it, and I will say it when we record this week's episode tomorrow night. Available on geekade.com this Thursday.
They took I'm very, very happy that they did not take as long as they did in the comics to get to the first oh shit moment.
I have never read the comics, so this is all new to me.
5-6 issues to get to that point, which is like, comics are a slow burn medium, you know,
for sure.
Much more long form storytelling. But in the show, I was just really happy because Tiff has never read any of it either, and like we sat down to watch it, and I was like, I mean, are they good? Like, I'm sitting there watching it going, are we really going there yet? And then it happened and Tiff was like, holy shit. It's like,
yeah. And it was that goes to, it's like, on one hand, it's a shame that this isn't live action. But on the other hand, like,
but how could you?
Exactly. You could not do this uncompromised in live action.
No.
Like, the budget would be unfathomable. It would like dwarf Game of Thrones. Like,
oh my god. It would, yeah.
That, or you would have to compromise it, do different things. And I think that would do the show a disservice. And you wouldn't get J.K. Simmons as Omni-Man because he can't physically do the role. But
no. My God, is that a good comic book?
Yeah,
the whole run.
I'm going to look into it now because I'm really into the show. But I might wait because I don't want to spoil anything for myself because it's really interesting. I don't know.
Well, I mean, but that's the other thing too. Like, who knows how long it's going to run for, right?
Yeah.
Like, are they going to get all the way through Invisible? Like, Robert Kirkman did some really, really cool shit in that comic book. My favorite, I think, of which was when he did a big summer crossover. He did like an 8-issue crossover event in one issue. Like he just did the whole thing. It was all like double page spreads and like tons of fucking epic shit. It was incredible. It was great. Anyway. So yeah, I mean, you didn't really interrupt. I really didn't have anything else. I legitimately barely played anything this week. This was one of those weeks. Yeah. Didn't happen.
You would think that I would have played some games, but I didn't because, like I said, I was working like nonstop. I caught up on most of the things that I needed to catch up on, and I now have a little bit of breathing room for the next week.
That's exciting.
For some extra like me time, which is pretty exciting. And a lot of the work I did was working on my my closet. I had been talking about putting the shelves in between the studs in the closet there.
Mm-hmm.
And I did, and it was more challenging than I expected because I started doing it the stupid way. And then I sent a picture of what I was doing to Mike. I was like, man, it's coming out great. He's like, here's what you should do instead of that. And I was like, that makes so much more sense. And then
here's what sucks about everything you're doing.
Because I'm looking at it like, so what I'm doing is I'm just drilling in on a diagonal through the stud to get into the shelf. Like, this isn't working very well, but the shelf's not falling off the wall, and it doesn't need to support much, so... Did
you at least have a pocket joint?
I don't know what that is.
Okay. So no.
Mike told me to go get little tiny, like, L brackets and put them underneath. It's like, it's a great idea. So I went and I bought like a pack of like 50 little L brackets for like $3 and just little tiny things because they don't have to support much weight, and I got it all done. It took a while because there's a bunch of them, and then I alphabetized my games and stuff. But I got Game Boy up, I got Atari 2600 up, I got loose Super Nintendo up, and then I have that cleared out tons of space on these shelves, so I was able to empty out all of my massive Genesis collection onto the shelves that I cleared out. I just cleared up so much space, so I'm thrilled with the way that came out. So that was a bunch of work, and I also finally figured out what was going over my TV. I had this blank space. There, I showed you the pictures a while back of like I lined up all my Game Boys and stuff up there. I kind of hated it. I loved the idea, but I just didn't think it looked very good. So somebody, I think it was Matt Much, and if it wasn't Matt Much, I apologize to whoever actually bought these for me, but somebody bought me these really nice prints of Mega Man and Proto Man.
Oh, that was me.
That was you? Thanks.
Of course it was.
And
everything good that happens to you is me.
I found them in my my closet. I went through all my like poster tubes to try to consolidate them, and I was like, "Oh right, I have this awesome Donkey Kong poster that I got from Club Nintendo. That's just like a screenshot of the NES Donkey Kong, the size of a poster. It looks really nice.
That's awesome.
And then I have these two really like simplistic Mega Man and Proto Man things. So I just went out and bought some frames for them, put all three of those, and it's perfect. And I slapped the Atari 2600 next to my Virtual Boy, a couple Hanafuda cards, and it's done. It's wonderful. I love it. So huge forward steps in the basement. So that was a lot of the work. And like I said, I watched things while I was eating. Before I got to moving on to Invincible, I finished watching the Playing with Power documentary that I talked about. That is really good. Trails off in quality a bit towards the end because they kind of skipped over some really important stuff. Like there was really no mention of Iwata at all. The stuff like him and Miyamoto and stuff cutting their salary when they talked a lot about how the Wii U was a failure.
Right.
Like, they talked a whole lot about that, but they didn't really talk about the 3DS. Like they mentioned that the 3DS launched and it didn't do what they expected it to. But the interesting part of that conversation is that how they turned that around, right? That's a pretty important story, like, because it's a very unique story in video games. They turned that around by slashing the price, giving people a bunch of free games, effectively apologizing for the hubris of coming out with it at that price, released a handful of good games for it, and turned that fortune around while taking pay cuts. And it wound up being one of the most popular systems ever. Yeah. They didn't mention any of that.
That's super weird.
It is super weird that they left that out. There was also, when they were talking about stuff like the Wii U, they kept cutting to interviews with Tommy Talarico. And here's how I think that interview went. Either he kept bringing up the Amico, and they cut out the word Amico and just kind of brought up the quote-unquote interesting points he was trying to make, or he was just doing his Amico sales pitch backhandedly without actually calling out the Amico. Because here's the thing. He kept giving those talking points where he tries to like rewrite history to frame the Amico as this thing that is going to take us back and do these things that Nintendo never did. And like he talked very specifically about how, so my mom went out and bought a Wii. My mom's not going out and buying a Switch. Why is that? Like, because she doesn't want a video game system, Tommy.
Yeah, that would be the reason.
This isn't a profound question you're bringing up. She doesn't want a video game system. She bought a Wii to play Wii Sports.
Yeah.
She doesn't want to buy Moon Patrol or Breakout or Shark. She doesn't give a crap about that.
Good Shark.
I'm sorry, but that profound question you're trying to throw out there, that's the answer. It's not this giant question. And then the other one was about how, they released the Wii and they got all the system in all these hands, and then they never capitalized on Wii Sports. They never gave the next game, except they did. Yeah. Because those people bought the Wii to get Wii Sports, and then they bought Wii Play, and then they bought Wii Fit, and then they bought Wii Sports Resort, and then a whole lot of them bought Mario Kart, and then a whole lot of them bought New Super Mario Brothers, and then Carnival Games, and that was it. Because that's how deep that well goes. They got the money out of those people, but they were never going to transition from New Super Mario Brothers to Metroid Prime 3 corruption.
No.
And maybe some of them did. Maybe some lapsed gamers got their hands on the Wii and played New Super Mario Brothers, and then they played... There was definitely a large audience that played Donkey Kong Country Returns. It was a successful platform in that respect. And the Wii did, in fact, change the way people made video games because it normalized motion controls. And now we have the motion controls that we have now, which are slight augmentations to existing controllers and buttons, because that was the natural progression of how we bring things back to a manner that makes sense, But that's not the way he frames it. And what ticks me off so much about that is this thing's on Crackle, okay? Nobody's finding this and watching this and believing that. But Tommy said Tommy said on our show who he's selling this to. He's selling this to people who don't know any better. So he's telling them, you bought a Wii and then you didn't buy any more games. Why didn't you buy any more games? Because Nintendo didn't give you any more games to buy. And they'll believe that because he's telling that to them. He's speaking their language. He's this charismatic guy who's telling them these things. But it's not true. They didn't not buy games because Tommy Talarico didn't release Cornhole on Wii. That's not why they stopped buying Wii games. They stopped buying Wii games because they were tired of playing with the Wii.
Yeah, because it wasn't that much fun after you did that shit. Like, all right, cool, I did that.
You did all that stuff, and then cell phones came out. Mobile phones came out, and they replaced that.
Yeah, it was very much a toy that happened to have some really good video games on it, but it was very much a toy. That's okay.
Yeah, it was both, and it was marketed as a toy, and it went out there and did its thing. And as competent as a game machine as it was not marketed well as a games machine, because you really couldn't have it both ways. I mean, you can, because the Switch exists. They finally got it right, but it took them a while to get there. But yeah, it was marketed as a toy. This was the thing that you do this and you swing your hands around. Okay, well, I'm done doing that now.
Yeah, I'm done flapping my arms around like an asshole.
It's not like Wii Bowling isn't fun anymore. It's not like people won't still turn. People were upset when Netflix stopped supporting the Wii, for crying out loud. Like, people still used the darn thing, but they used it for those very specific purposes. And that just cheesed me off so much during the end of that whole... because nobody else was spouting those lines. That was the thing. Yeah. And knowing Tommy the way that we do, I knew exactly what he was doing. He was trying to sell the Amico. Those were his lines. And outside of that, though, I mean, it was super cool. It was a really cool documentary. I definitely recommend watching it. It's got a lot of really interesting stuff in it. It just kind of fell apart at the end. It didn't
stick the landing.
It didn't stick the landing. They handled PlayStation okay, but at a certain point it was a little too Nintendo focused. Like, I don't know, it was weird the way that they handled PlayStation. Like, they did, give them the props that they deserve for being the PlayStation, but I also think that they didn't quite nail how, like, they were like, and then the Wii basically just won that generation. Like, well, I mean, from a numbers game, sure, but you're kind of missing...
like, not even a little bit.
You're kind of like, yes, they sold more hardware, and technically more software, I think, with the mega hits that they had, but it kind of really hurt them too, because, they move on to the Wii U, and they're trying to and it just failed because nobody understood what it was. And it's like, well, yeah, it was also partially because, that was a big part of it. Nobody knew what it was. People thought it was an add-on to the Wii, and the Wii brand was toxic at that point because the people who wanted that were done with it. They bought those 6 or 7 games in droves, mind you. Look at the sales numbers on crap like Carnival games and all the Wii Sports and stuff. Those games sold like crazy.
My grandmother was living in a retirement community at the time. She has since moved into her own apartment now, but she was in like an assisted living thing for a little bit, and they had signs at the old people's home for Wii U bowling nights.
Right,
like it sold everywhere and tons of copies. You're right, but I bought that. I don't need to buy it again. I bought that.
Yeah,
I have it.
That thing is still there and it still plays. And
I don't need to get another one.
And those other games, not just the Wii Sports, but those Wii Plays and all that stuff, they sold stupid numbers. To suggest that nobody bought any more games for their Wii is absurd. It's just patently false. They didn't buy, Mad World. They didn't buy. I mean, even Mario Galaxy did well, but they didn't do as well as it should have.
It didn't do fucking Wii Sports well.
No, it didn't, because it was never going to. Because that's the divide right there. But
gamers did not buy that system.
They didn't. They bought the Xbox 360 and the PlayStation 3.
Yeah,
that's
the
part of it. That's the part of it that it's fine, and because that's the story. Now that is the story. Now look where we are now. We're in a really interesting phase in gaming right now, where again the PlayStation 5 should be this knock out of the park, right? Yeah. That should be there should be no question, but there's a lot of ill will towards Sony right now because of the way they handled the rollout of the platform. The way that
this new CEO guy not doing them any favors.
What did we just discover? That you can't even play physical PlayStation 3 games if you remove the battery and it can't connect online?
Something like that, yeah.
Sony's getting a little bit of ill will out there, and Microsoft is getting a little positivity. I don't know if it's going to translate to I don't know what the fortunes are going to do there. I don't know what's going to happen with the Switch. How much longer is that going to be able to keep selling the way that it is? It's weird that it hasn't slowed down considering the game output, but it's just that that's just coming from me because a lot of the AAA output from the Switch really isn't aimed at me. Right. I don't really care about Pokemon Snap, but damn if a lot of people don't care about Pokemon Snap,
Monster Hunter Rise.
Exactly.
That's huge.
Exactly. It's gigantic. I hear it's fantastic too, but it's again not for me, which is fine because I have other things to catch up on, but I don't know. Weird things to omit, especially considering that up to that point, they did so well covering this thing.
Right.
There were a couple other weird things in it, like there were quotes used in different contexts, like the same quote was used in multiple episodes in different context to make it sound like they're talking about two different things, that's a little weird. That's a terrible oversight. Like, you want to use this quote to say something, and then you use the same quote later from the same person, like, I heard him. I'm marathoning this, okay? I heard him say that in the last episode, like a half an hour ago. You're not tricking anyone here.
Yeah.
Whatever. So, playing with power, good times. I meant to mention this last week, and I forgot, but I downloaded and started playing Donut County.
Oh, nice.
It was on sale for $3, so I finally downloaded it.
My goodness, is it worth $3?
Here's the problem. I downloaded the game, and then the next morning, I woke up, and it was the weekend, and I said, all right, I'm going to get some bagels, right? Because this was before they went away. This was the last week that I should have had this conversation. I'm going to go get some bagels. So I went out, got some bagels. While I was gone, John started playing Donut County. So he started it before I had a chance to. And then he didn't stop. Like, for like a day or two later, he had beaten the game. I was like, oh, okay, well... Every time he'd be playing it, I'd just leave the room. I was like, I don't want to see what's happening. I want to play this game myself.
Right.
I was like, okay. So he finished it. And then Karen started playing it. And then they went away. And when they went away, John was just so completely obsessed with Donut County. He thinks it's hysterical. And he really wanted to show it to his grandma. So I downloaded it again on his Switch. Because, again, it was $3.
Yeah.
It's like, well, yeah, you can play it on your Switch, but you have to play it on my account. Oh, this is stupid. I'll spend the other $3. And now you can just play it on your account. But apparently he didn't connect to her Wi-Fi right, so they couldn't authenticate the game. So he just wound up playing it on my account and starting my progress over again. So I'm still only like 3 levels into the game because I had to start over again today because he beat it again over at his grandmother's house. So, yeah. But it's really nice. I like it. It's a very good game.
It's very charming.
Yeah.
It's very simple.
I definitely get your Katamari comparison. Like, I can see that.
Yeah, like, I mean, completely different game, right? Completely.
Yeah, but like the concept of you swallow something to make the hole bigger, just like you roll over something to make the Katamari bigger. I get the parallel there. But yeah, completely different game.
Completely different, but still has that sort of simplistic charm, right? That's just it's great, man. It's great. It's so worth $3. Oh my goodness.
Hell yeah. Very well worth $3. Worth $6 even.
Yeah,
I've bought it twice. Let's see. I'm still playing Metroid Prime Hunters with John. We just got back to it today from when he came back from vacation, and it's still pretty good. I will say that it does have a little bit more in common, like a little bit more of a common thread with previous Metroid games than I initially thought. It just kind of does it in a different way. It's very segmented, it's very designed to be a portable game that you play like, I'm done with this stage. So the like I said before, the exploration isn't really as in-depth as it is in other Metroid games.
Mm-hmm.
But every single one of these octolists that you get on every one of these planets triggers an escape sequence, which is pretty cool.
That is pretty cool.
It's got a whole bunch of escape sequences. And what's cool is that, like, the one I did today is the premise of the game is that there was this like message out in the universe was like, ultimate power, come get it. So the Federation's just like, Samus, you should go do that. So they hire you to go get it for the Federation, knowing that pretty much every bounty hunter that heard this is going to be going after that power.
Sure.
And lo and behold, you go on this search to go get these items so that you can, follow the path and get this power. And you keep running into these other bounty hunters that are just colossal assholes. The one I ran into today was Trace, I think. The red one, Metroid Trace. Let me see if I got these names. I'm so terrible with these names. All right. Yes, Trace. I got it right. So Trace is really cool. Trace has like a sniper rifle that can shoot through walls, which is really obnoxious. But so you do this, you fight Trace before, and then he runs away, and then you do a bunch of the rest of the level, and then you get the Octolith, and he was waiting for you so that he could kill you on the way out. So the escape sequence goes off, and then Trace starts attacking you again, locks all the doors, so you gotta fight Trace on this time limit so you can get back to your ship. So they keep doing shit like that, where it's like, if they give you like 2 minutes to escape, it's just like, okay, well, I just have to get out of here and I can get out of here. But like, I finished this one like 8 minutes. What the fuck are they going to do to me now? Like, that's too much time. There's something going to come. And of course, I had to fight Trace. I beat Trace. And then after I beat Trace, all these other little robot guardian things showed. I was like, son of a bitch. I made it with like 30 seconds to spare or something. It's quite intense. Some of the boss battles are they keep recycling the same bosses, which is kind of problematic, and like the boss I fought today was just obnoxious, but it wasn't that hard. It was just hard to hit. It wasn't hard to stay alive. It was just hard to get successful hits off. Like he's got this really tiny hitbox, and there's no lock on, so you're just like always aiming with the stylus. It was really hurting my hands, but
yeah.
All in all,
that doesn't sound super fun.
Yeah, it's not, but it's also
it's not great.
But yeah, that's just some of the bosses. Like the actual hunter fights are really good when you're facing off the other hunters and stuff.
Yeah.
But the all in all, I'm really impressed with the technology going on here. Like, this is a really impressive DS game. They did some really smart things to keep things like sound quality really high. Like the escape sequence music, there's usually like a siren going off, and that was incorporated into the actual music track instead of it being a separate sound effect.
Oh, that's cool.
Like because we were downloading the soundtrack, because John's like me, he's obsessed with all the music. So every time we beat a section into the game, he's like, "Let's update the playlist." So and we got when we did the whole escape sequence, he's like, "Oh, I see, it's actually part of the music. I get it." Like, I wish it wasn't, because I want to hear this song without that obnoxious, beeping noise, but I get it. Like, visually speaking, it's very impressive for a DS game. Like, it runs at a very, very smooth frame rate. I'm very impressed with this game. Like, it's not the most amazing thing in the world, but boy, this would make a really cool game to remaster. Like, a really cool game to remaster. Because if I'm understanding this right, when you play in multiplayer, you can play as these different hunters, which all have these different attributes similar to Samus. And every one of them also has a transformation, sort of like Samus's morph ball, right? So like, it's a secondary form that like this guy will turn into like a centipede or something, or this one can like turn into a little top that spins around, or they all have something like that. So I imagine, and I had always heard that the multiplayer in this was really good if you had people to play it with, right? Because this did the Wi-Fi connection, so you could play this online. And reviews apparently reviewed the online for this pretty well, considering it was a damn DS game. But this really seems like the kind of thing that is really ripe for a remake. Like, that would be really, really cool to see this remade and given a proper shot. Because another one of the real big problems with this is that the exploration is there to an extent, but it's way harder because the map is really hard to read. They effectively used the same map from Metroid Prime, but because of the resolution of the DS screen, it's kind of chunky and difficult to read. So,
which is not what you're going for with a map.
No, it's really not. Like that 3D map in Metroid Prime was already somewhat difficult to read, just by nature of it being looking at, how do I look at this 3D space? And it was brilliant, and it works because of what it is. But you take the resolution of that down, and all of a sudden it becomes more of a challenge. And there's also no on-screen map while you're playing. Like, you have to pause to look at the map, whereas there was always that one little bit in the corner in Metroid Prime. Like, I would really like to see this game remade. I'd really like it.
Maybe
never going to happen.
No.
Never going to happen.
I mean, maybe.
Yeah, right? Because who knows? You never know what Nintendo's going to do next, like Pac-Man 99.
Right.
Have you tried
because
that?
Why not? No.
It's fucking great.
I told you I didn't play anything this week.
Oh, right. That's right. And this came out. This just dropped in the middle of nowhere. It's fucking great. I think the best I've done is like 12th place because I love Pac-Man, but I'm not great at Pac-Man.
I am not either. I do love it, though.
I was very impressed with my 12th place, and this is really cool. It's very Pac-Man Champion Edition.
Okay.
Like it's got a lot of that flavor in it. Did you watch the trailer for it, or you just kind of know about it?
I just know that it came out.
All right, so the way you compete in it is and as many ghosts. It works like Pac-Man Champion Edition, where like you eat a bunch of dots and then they reform elsewhere. You know what I mean? Like,
right.
So it's not like you beat a stage, then you move on to the next one or anything like that. It's a constant stage. And every ghost that you eat shows up as a little, like, vector graphic Pac-Man that shows up on somebody else's screen and, like, rolls around. And it can't hurt you, but it slows you down. So it's like kind of like eating the fat dots in Junior Pac-Man, right? You go over one of those Pac-Mans and you'll chomp through it, but it slows you down for a second. Right. Which is, super difficult if you've got, ghosts on your tail. And there's also these little mini ghosts that show up on the sides. And if you eat them, they'll create the big train of ghosts from Pac-Man Champion Edition.
Oh, that's cool.
So you get a pill, you get one of the pills, and then you the power pellets, and then you eat them, and he goes, whoop, 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 and you eat the whole train of them. It's really, it's a great effect. I loved it in Champion Edition. I love it here, too. And that sends a whole bunch of ghosts to the other player's screen. And that's kind of how you compete, is you can also kind of choose between different attributes. You can make yourself faster, but it comes at the expense of something. I don't really understand it. There's videos out there that go through it. I pretty much just leave it on normal all the time. But it's a really fun little game. Like I said, awesome. 12th is the best I've done because I'm not spectacular at Pac-Man. But I've booted it up a handful of times just because like this is pretty fun. So yay!
I definitely want to check it out. Maybe we'll have time this week. I mean, probably not, but
it's the right price.
Yeah. It's my favorite 4-letter F word.
I'm not sure this was worth losing Super Mario 35 for no goddamn reason.
Sure.
I just keep hoping that they're going to bring it back in a different form, like here's Super Mario 99.
Right.
Because I just don't get it.
There's no reason.
You want to make it special, but you want to make your Nintendo Switch Online special because the actual online service isn't selling anybody. But right. you keep dropping stuff like Tetris 99 still ongoing. Pac-Man 99 doesn't seem to have an expiration date. Like, Super Mario 35 was fun, man. I'm sad it's gone. But that's all I have to talk about, and we should take a break. What do you think?
Yeah, let's do some commercials.
I'm going to get myself a drink first because I was drinking this water, and there's all kinds of shit floating around in here.
Oh, that's the best kind.
I don't know what it is, but I'm not drinking it. But we're going to take ourselves a quick break, and when we come back, we're going to talk about the Monster Hunter movie.
I'm so excited.
You're listening to the Stone Age Gamer podcast from geekade.com. Stick around. And now, here's a quick look at some of the other original content available now from our partners and geekade.com.
First up, did you like the last Mutant Musings special?
Of course
you
I did.
Well, that's good, Chris, because they've got another one, all primed and ready for your fucking ear holes. This time, Jonathan and Patty. Right, check this shit out, Chris. This is ridiculous. Jonathan and Patty landed a surprise interview, like they just ran up on him and they were like, COVID be damned, talk to us, with none other than Jerry Duggan. They're a little stalkery, but whatever. Fucking Jerry Duggan, man, who's a comic book writer extraordinaire. He's written the Hulk, he's written Batman, he's written Deadpool, he's written Doctor Strange, he's written Sleepwalker, maybe, I hope. So, what the fuck is he doing on an X-Men podcast? I wonder what it could be. You're just going to have to listen to the podcast to see if he drops any bombshells about his upcoming projects. Don't miss Mutant Musings Evolution Episode 7.1, Interview with Jerry fucking Duggan.
I won't miss it. Next,
And I
if
really
you've
hope
ever
it's Duggan and not Dugan. I'm
Yeah,
not sure.
I probably should have
I'm
asked
not
for some
entirely sure.
pronunciation on that.
I really don't know.
Well,
I'm not. I don't want to be that guy and be like, "Oh, I fucking totally said it right." Like, I really don't know. And
Yeah,
he
I-
didn't talk to us.
He didn't. I should have asked Jonathan. Anyway, next, if you've ever had the urge to dress in blue, dye your hair green, and walk blindly to your own doom to the sound of excellent 16-bit music, this week's episode of Waveback is definitely for you. Matt and I sat down and listened to one of my all-time favorite soundtracks, Lemmings for Super NES. Yes, it's a bit silly, and yes, it's hardly the version of Lemmings most people probably remember playing the most, but it's always been my favorite, and it was my turn to pick, so there you have it. Keep your hair on, Mr. Lem, and tune in to Waveback episode 126, Lemmings for Super NES.
Dan, finally, because it says my name twice, so I'm going to assume you wanted me to read it once.
No, I wanted to refer to you as Dan. Dan Revolution?
The Dan Revolution? It's a very sexy bearded revolution. Finally, on an all-new, brand spanking, fresh out of the package, like you just bought some new shit and you opened it and you're like, oh, let me fucking sniff it.
Brand new, definitely didn't recycle this from last week.
No, definitely not. Weekend Rental Podcast, the guys have a full slate of goodness to discuss. They kick things off with Buy, Rent, Burn on some classic SNES racing games. And if you know the Super NES library like we do, you know it's got some serious-ass racing games.
Well, you know the problems I've been having with racing games.
Stepfather. Was Top Gear 2 one of them? How about Rock and Roll Racing? Maybe a little Unit Racers. Who knows? Then, what does Lara Croft have to do with Fortnite? I don't know. The episode title makes me think that there's a connection in there somewhere. And of course, there's a new Monster Hunter on the block, and what the fuck is a Loop Hero? Find out in Weekend Rental episode 96, The Gamers Croft Fortnite.
For all this quote-unquote great...
How dare you?
No, I'm kidding.
Spectacular content.
This stuff is... Look, interview with Jerry Duggan, that Waveback episode was a fucking treasure, and Weekend Rental is awesome, right?
Yeah, those
So
guys
yes,
fucking rule. They're like
for all
O'Doyle.
this legitimately great content and more from us and our partners, be sure to keep your eyes on Geekade.com. And we are back, and you know what I learned? It's not www.stoneagegamer.com.
No?
It's just stoneagegamer.com.
No www?
Apparently, a lot of sites have already lost the www thing. Like, that's just not a thing anymore.
I know, but we're old, so it is.
I did not know that. I created a couple of months ago at this point when we started doing the YouTube stuff for Stone Age Gamer. I made this little intro thing, and it said www.stoneagegamer.com because that's what I thought. I just thought that's what websites were, right?
Right.
And then
Ryan it's on the
messaged
World
me,
Wide Web.
right? So Ryan messaged me like, so, I mean, it's not a big deal because if you type it in, it's still going to take you there, but it's not actually www. It's just stoneagegamer.com.
StoneAgeGamer.edu. It's weird.
It's weird.
www.2.co. It's fucking
.tv.
So, Chris,
So,
we watched the Monster Hunter movie. And
yeah, we did.
Before I give you my ratings on it, I watched it with my children. Katie was very excited to watch this movie. Very excited. Penny was pretty excited, but we had just watched Godzilla vs. Kong. So she was kind of like, it's another monster movie. Before we discuss, I just want to give you my kids' rankings on this movie. Katie, very, very excited to watch this movie. 3.5 out of 10. And the only reason it got a 3.5 was because of the fucking cat. And that is my 11-year-old's exact quote. As we were talking about the movie, she goes, Dad, this was a 3.5 out of 10. and it only gets a 3.5 out of 10 because of that fucking cat. And I was like, language, but that's awesome. Penny, on the other hand, 20 out of 10. So I'm somewhere in between the two.
Wowzers. All right, so I sat down, I put Collection of Mana in my Switch and said, you know what? We're going to start Secret of Mana because I finished my work, I have some time, I'm going to play Collection of Mana. Shit, I have to watch this Monster Hunter movie. So that's what I did instead. With my precious, precious free time, house to myself, I watched the Monster Hunter movie. It was
awesome. Shut up. It was great. How dare you? I hear where you're going.
It was most certainly not great.
No, it wasn't at all, but it was awesome. Oh,
there were 4 monsters in this movie.
There were more than 4. There was like 7.
I'm pretty sure there were 4. I'm pretty sure there was... We saw the sand monster in the beginning. The spider
Diablos.
monsters.
It's not the fucking sand. How dare you?
Whatever.
Dear
we saw
God, man.
The Legion of Spider Monsters.
Yeah.
Then we saw something else, and then Rathalos.
Okay, well, there's the Apsaros that
the fuck
get
is
fucking the things that are peaceful when Tony Jaa tells her that they eat fucking plants by putting a plant in his mouth and showing her that they don't eat meat, which was great. There's the and then they get fucking chased, the Stampede, when the Rathalos shows up, the flying fire-breathing one. There's the Nursilis, which are the fucking crazy spider shits, which are cool. There's the Black Diablos, which is the Diablos in the sand. There is the surprise one at the end.
Oh, right. The
spoiler
sequel starter.
Yeah, the Gore Magala, which is fucking... I love fucking Gore Magala. That one's awesome. There's
that
the Rathalos. That
kind of doesn't count, though, because they didn't really fight it. There was the Rathalos.
Was there. It counts. How dare you? The Rathalos was in it. And the fucking Meowscular chef. He counts.
Again, they didn't fight the thing. He just showed up and cooked some food.
All right, well, take that out. There were 5.
Fine, I'll give you the plant creatures. Whatever.
Yeah, they were there. Counts.
So in your Monster Hunter movie...
they hunted 2 monsters.
Here's the big problem. It
was nonsense.
Well, yes, it was nonsense, but I hate this trope. All right, first off, the music was awful. The music was just... How generic can we make this music? It was just... Like, it's just the most generic Michael Bay Transformer shit you ever heard.
Did you watch... You don't watch SNL, right?
I do not.
Oh, man. They're doing some fucking really good work on SNL right now. It's not always great, but they're doing some really interesting things. This past week, Carey Mulligan was the host, and Kid Cudi was the musical guest, and they always do like a music video. They have been for a few seasons now, and this one was about the weird ass flute that's in like hip hop songs and shit, and it was like this really like tough hip hop song with like like fucking little flute shit in there. It just reminded me of it when you just did your Monster Hunter music. Because you're right, it's just fucking like fucking weird trilly little flute bits,
and everything always comes terrible. Back. Everything in every AAA video game and every Call of Duty and every movie trailer and everything, it always comes down to that big sound. Yeah. Like, fucking do something else.
Fucking Inception soundtrack for everybody.
Stupid as shit.
Yeah, 0 out of 10. I agree.
Ron Perlman is the Cowardly Lion. I don't know what the fuck was going on with that hair, but not okay with it.
I turned to the girls and I was like, watching that movie, I was like, is that fucking Ron Perlman? And from downstairs I hear Tiff go, language. I'm like, sorry. Because like they're almost 12. That's old enough for me to have no more filter.
Yeah, I think so.
But they were like, we don't know. I was like, I don't know. I can't tell if that's Ron Perlman or Nick Nolte. I'm pretty sure it's not Nick Nolte, but it definitely could be.
I was sure it was Ron Perlman right off the bat. There's no mistaking that guy's face, but they had like this lion's mane of hair going around it. He looked ridiculous.
He looked like a Monster Hunter character, so...
All right, if he's true, I don't know the source. I don't know the source material. I don't know the source material, but he looked absurd. That was not cool. But this is the thing. This is the thing that I hate, and movies do this way too often.
Yeah.
Where, all right, we're going to adapt this property, and this property takes place in some sort of fantastic situation. There's some sort of fantastic universe. That's got its own rules, it's got its own mythology, and it's all very interesting. But some pencil pushers no, we gotta relate this to the human world. So there's gonna be someone from our world's gotta cross into that world, or someone from that world's it's the fucking Smurfs movie, right? We're gonna make a Smurfs movie, right? How cool is a Smurfs movie gonna be? It's gonna be this giant CG thing with giant mushrooms and Gargamel. It's gonna be great. Nah, fuck it. Hank Azaria is gonna be just a dude, and we're just gonna bring the Smurfs into New York City. Isn't that gonna be great?
That'll be funny.
Remember Master of the Universe?
Yeah. Oh God, do I ever?
I
broke my heart as a little He-Maniac.
I just wanted a He-Man movie.
Broke my heart.
How is it possible that? And they do
into
this
little pieces.
Hollywood
that fucking
does this shit.
The stupid little troll bastard. Like, you're not fucking Orko. What's wrong with you? Why is Frank Langella Skeletor? I'm 10 and I know that's terrible. Fuck Frank Langella. That guy sucks. Glad he's dead.
The thing here is, Monster Hunter is an established thing, and it's got this world, right? It's got a world, it's got lore, and it's not like Lord of the Rings and Game of Thrones didn't go over well, right?
No, it's not. It has lore, but it does not have good story. And there has not been a good story in a Monster Hunter game yet.
And there has not been a good story in a Monster Hunter movie yet either.
That is very true. There have been passable stories, but really like the big draw of the Monster Hunter games, right? You don't need a great story. Like, you're going to go kill that thing and then make weapons and armor out of it. Like, okay, cool. And I get to do that with my friends? Awesome. You don't need a fucking deep story.
And that's the thing. For a movie, you didn't need to have this extra... The U.S. military shit, like right off, it was just dripping with U.S. military hoorah. It was just oozing with that, and that's got nothing to do with Monster Hunter.
Yeah, like I did not care for that bit.
I didn't need any of that shit. I didn't need any of it because you had that cast right from the get-go, and then they showed up at the end. I was like, why wasn't I watching a movie with these people in it?
Yeah,
I didn't need an hour and a half of the fucking spiders. I didn't need that.
They were creepy as shit, though.
They were creepy as shit, but then I was done. I was ready to find the next crazy-ass monster. Like, that Sand King thing that you were talking about, that was really fucking cool.
Black Diablos?
I want more of that. Yeah, I want more of that. I want more, because I know Monster Hunter's full of weird shit for you to hunt and make stuff out of. So, like, come up with a MacGuffin. We have to get the MacGuffin to stop the thing from the thing. And the MacGuffin is guarded by Rathalos. Huzzah. So we've got our band. Oh no, one of the guys fell off of the boat. We have to go save him. We got to get the MacGuffin to save the guy from the thing. And then we find monsters, we kill them, we make shit out of the monsters, and we fight more monsters, and we eventually find the guy, we get the MacGuffin, movie over. That's all it needed to be.
It really is.
And that's no less stupid than the crap that they came up with for this movie with, like, there's a storm in the desert, and now all the hoorah military people are here in the desert, and then we're just going to kill all of them except, what's-her-face? Yeah, multipass.
Yeah.
And she's going to be fine, I guess, and then she's going to make it back, and, like, okay, it was cool to watch helicopters fight Rathalos, but it wasn't worth all the effort to get there when watching other shit fight Rathalos would have been just as cool.
Yeah, that I think is ultimately the point here. I actually legitimately enjoyed this movie. It is big, dumb, stupid fun. I was not going into it looking for much of a story. because I knew about the U.S. military shit to start with. That wasn't like a surprise to me. So I knew that there was going to be some kind of like ham-fisted way to like you said, like we got to have somebody from our world go into their world. You know, like no, you really didn't.
Like they just don't have any confidence in the property that they licensed. Then why'd you fucking license it?
To
have
be
some
fair,
confidence.
It is a video game movie. And when we eventually do the ranking of the top 10 video game or the top video game movies, like we did with the Zelda franchises, or Zelda games, I mean, it's going to be interesting to see where something like this places because it's so much better than so many of them. It's not great. Don't get me wrong. Like, this is not a good movie.
This isn't Uwe Ball territory, but, you know.
But man, I did legitimately enjoy it. I thought Mia Jovovich did, you know, good work with what she was given. I fucking love Tony Jaa. That dude's awesome.
He was the guy who couldn't communicate with her?
Yeah.
He was
the Monster Hunter.
Yeah.
Like you should watch, like, you're not big into martial arts movies though, but like Tony Jaa. I
love martial arts movies. I just never get to watch them.
Oh, well, okay. Then watch Tony Jaa movies. Like he's got some fucking crazy shit. Like Protector is one that is fucking nuts. Ong Bak. Did you ever see that? Muay Thai fighter.
Yes. Yeah, I've never seen it, but I know what you're talking about.
Yeah. He's crazy. Like that dude's really good. So I'll like he's one of those guys where it's like, oh, Tony Jaa, I'll fucking watch anything that dude's in. You know. Yeah, there could have been more monsters. Like there definitely could have been and probably should have been, but I can't imagine honestly that the budget was super high for this.
No, you're right. The budget probably wasn't super high, but all the effects that they spent on the fucking dirt cloud, they honestly, just one more big monster fight would have been cool. Like you're talking about technicalities with like got these plant creatures in there in the background. Like they could have been puppets. They could have been any number of things. But if the movie's called Monster Hunter, there should have been more monster hunting in it. You know,
there should have been.
I didn't expect some sort of big sweeping story. I went in expecting a degree of competence, and it never doesn't piss me off where somebody pays for a license and has absolutely no confidence in what they're licensing.
Yeah.
The fact that they needed to shove somebody from our world into this was so offensive to me at this day and age. Like, just
make the Monster Hunter movie.
Just make them. You paid for the license, use it. For fuck's sake, just do what you pay, what you set out to do. There's a reason people don't buy Monster Hunter games in droves because they wish they could fly a fucking chopper through the game. That's not why people buy these games. Just make the movie about the things that people like about the games. That's the research you have to do. You don't have to do the market research like, well, let's see, how are we going to market this to the most number of people? Like, look at the shit on Netflix. You don't need that anymore.
Market this to nerds.
Just market this to nerds. They own the planet. They're going to watch it. All right? Just fucking stop. And the hubris of this movie, the hubris of the ending, setting up a sequel was the Super Mario Brothers movie all over again. Like, fuck this dumpster fire. We're making another one of these for sure. Like, when they fought Rathalos for like 4 seconds, and I literally wrote down, did they just bitch out of the Rathalos fight? And then, of course, like Rathalos followed her back to Earth, and that shit was kind of cool. But
that was like, as much as I hate that crossover shit, that shit was kind of dope though.
Oh yeah, like that was
Rathalos
awesome.
Fucking tearing the wings off of the stealth fighter.
Yeah, that was cool as hell.
That was really cool. Now the problem with this movie, I think, unfortunately, is that it is a Paul W.S. Anderson joint. Right. Now, Paul W.S. Anderson is, I believe he's married to Mia Jovovich.
Yes.
He
did
has
the Resident Evil movies, right?
He did the Resident Evil movies, the Final Chapter, Afterlife. He did Alien vs. Predator, which is a movie I really wanted to love, but I couldn't see any of it.
He directed the first Mortal Kombat.
He directed the first Mortal Kombat, which is, as much as I love it, a garbage movie.
Oh my god, it's not good, but it's definitely entertaining.
I do enjoy it. It's fucking terrible. That fucking Goro, man. Oh boy.
I know. You and me have talked about this before.
I know.
I disagree. I was very impressed by that Goro. I think he looks great.
He directed Event Horizon, which is a movie that I seem to be very, very opposite my wife on. She loves it. I think it's one of the biggest pieces of shit I've ever seen. He's not a good director. Like, he just isn't. He's not
what kind of hurts though, like with Mortal Kombat.
He's not a bad director.
He understood what made Mortal Kombat good, right?
Yeah, clearly Christopher Lambert is what made Mortal Kombat good.
Like, he understood what people wanted to see in a Mortal Kombat movie. Like, it didn't need to be like, I mean, I guess you had that whole, like, our real world crossing over with Outworld was built, that was baked into the plot. That was
But that is the story of Mortal Kombat.
Yeah, that is the story of Mortal Kombat.
That's okay.
Boy, he didn't do the second one, so dodged a bullet on that. God, that second Mortal Kombat movie is...
I've seen it one time.
Ooh.
That's one time too many.
Oh my God, that movie.
I'm hopeful for this next one.
Yeah, well, I mean, it looks really cool.
I mean, I don't think so, actually. Like, I really am not very...
I didn't say good. I said it looks really cool.
I'm not very, very excited about what's going to happen there, but I hope I am super wrong. Like,
yeah, man, I mean...
honestly, like I felt about Monster Hunter. I thought going into this that this was going to be among the worst movies I have ever seen. And it definitely isn't.
Oh, for sure. No, it definitely isn't among the worst.
It's
not great. I wouldn't even consider it good. I would consider it at best tolerable, but it made me personally angry for the reasons that movies make me angry. Like, you didn't have to do that.
Yeah.
It would be like, okay, we're finally going to make a Legend of Zelda movie, and it's going to be about Todd finding a warp zone into Hyrule.
Finding the Master Sword in his basement.
Right? He went into an antique shop and picked up something. Oh, what is this? Oh, legend says it's the Triforce of Teleportation. And then he picks it up.
Oh, man.
Oh, no. Now I'm in Hyrule. What's all this stuff? What's a fairy? Oh.
And then the fucking end credit scene is low rule. Just big fucking music.
God, and knowing that he directed Mortal Kombat, like, I haven't seen any of the Resident Evil movies, but shit, remember the end of Mortal Kombat when Shao Kahn comes out?
Yeah. That was bad.
Boy, way to play that, just playing that card again.
But I mean, his movies do get sequels.
They do.
They do. So, this movie, on Rotten Tomatoes, has a, let me see here, I just had it up. Has a 46% critic review and a 70% audience score. And that is actually legitimately, like, as my kids and I were discussing it, Penny legitimately was like 20 out of 10. She was like, that was fucking great. Katie hated it because she actually complained about all the same things you complained about. She was like, why are they not hunting monsters in the movie called Monster Hunter? Why is the American military here? Why didn't we get a movie about monster hunters?
You had a rocket launcher.
Interesting.
You had a rocket launcher in the car, and you waited 15 minutes to say, "Get the rocket launcher." After the first 3 bullets didn't affect the thing, you go for the fucking RPG.
She was real mad. But I was like, 7 out of 10. That's about where I feel. 6.5, 7 out of 10. I enjoyed it. I really did.
4 out of 10.
4 out of 10? That's
4
fair.
out of 10 for me.
The reviews that are here, though. Lori, 1 star, half a star. We walked out after 30 minutes into the movie. It was totally unrealistic and gory. What were you? It was unrealistic.
Unrealistic.
I love I love Lori. She's so funny. Ham on our Hammond movie, Old Guy. A Descent movie. I believe he meant to say decent. But a Descent movie for the time we are in. With the COVID being less and less, I needed a big studio production. Too many Netflix-ish movies holding us until the first big one next week, Godzilla vs. King Kong. Impossible storyline, but worth it.
Here we go. This one got a 7 out of 10. But I found this far more entertaining than Wonder Woman 1984. Non-stop action, and there are some surprisingly funny moments in the film too. Certainly recommend it. This is from Max Lacey. Never played the game. Well, see, I never played the game, and I don't know that it was more entertaining than Wonder Woman 1984. That movie was also
crap. I think it was way more entertaining than Wonder Woman 1984. If I were given a choice, if those were the two movies, right? If we went to the fucking Blockbuster and all the other movies were rented and all they had was Monster Hunter and Wonder Woman 1984, having seen both of them, I would pick Monster Hunter over Wonder Woman 1984 in a second. I wouldn't even think about it. I might also rent Wonder Woman 1984 so nobody else had to watch it. So that they went to the store and they were just like, well, shit, they don't have anything.
I would watch Wonder Woman 1984 again just to find out how much of it I made up and how much actually happened. All right, let's. This time, I want to count the scenes. I want to see if I can figure out how that kid got into the woods at the end of the movie. I want to see if I can connect this particular dot. I want to listen again to the pseudoscience of how he was able to touch everybody in the world through this thing that just happened to be in the president's Oval Office when he came to visit. I want to know what the through. I want to watch the transformation into cheetah again, right? How did we get from point to I want to be an apex predator?
Cheetah it is.
What is it? I was watching that what's it the pitch meeting video. Like she could have been an orca whale, right? Yeah, that would have made for a very different movie.
A very, very different.
There was just as much of it. So this whole the whole thing at the end is assuming that literally every person on the planet wished for something selfish, right? Nobody wished to cure my cancer or anything like that.
Yeah, nobody would have done that.
They have to wish that back now. I take back my wish to cure my mom's cancer because they thought nothing through. They thought nothing through to conclusion. And that is fucking fascinating to me. And really, I just want to watch The Mandalorian do his fucking ridiculous routine again, too, because as amusing as many things in Monster Hunter were, there was none of that guy.
No, there was definitely no Pedro Pascal.
Yeah, there was no Max Lord doing what is this guy doing? Right? The best you had was Ron Perlman's fucking cheek hair.
Yeah. Yeah, Ron Perlman, him knowing English, that was weird. Was he...
I studied it. From what?
From who? From where? I kept waiting for the reveal that Ron Perlman was from our world.
That's right. What I
He'd just been there this whole time, and he was going to, that was going to be... Nope. How? He just... Mia Jovovich and the rest of the fucking troops that were slaughtered were apparently not the first people from... Not the first... So they're in, where the fuck even are they in the beginning of it? They're in, Fallujah or some shit, right? They're not... This isn't Arizona in the desert. They're clearly in the Middle East, is where this is set up. So they're clearly in the Middle East.
Because that's where you stop the terrorists, Dan. That's where you stop the bad guys.
No, you're not wrong. I mean, obviously, everybody knows that.
Right? That's where the bad guys are.
Yeah, that's right. Thin blue line, red, black, what fucking line?
Thick blue dot, whatever.
The thick blue dot. The pale green balls.
No, that was the Eric Bana Hulk movie.
Oh, that's right. That's what that one was. Shit. So we're in the Middle East, and it tells you everything you need to know. We're in the Middle East, and they get sucked into the monster hunter world. And Ron Perlman is there, and he doesn't speak a lot of dialogue in the movie, but there is some in a very clearly made up, monster hunter world language. And he talks to Mia Jovovich and speaks in English. And he's like, I studied it from, you're not the first person to come through here. But it's like, but how? So,
okay. So
we're in the Middle East.
From the
so you studied English?
Yeah.
Just like the Bible, right? It was written in fucking English. Like, come on, man. What are you doing?
Even
he should have been speaking Arabic or something.
Let's even forgive that and say that, sure, you met a couple of people who speak English in your lifetime.
Sure.
To be able to get to that level of fluency, like, he's not even speaking
cheeky.
broken English. He is as comfortable as could possibly be with the English language.
Yeah. He's like us. He's like just a dude.
And how much easier would it have been to just be like, yeah, no, I'm from Earth.
Yeah. I came back in fucking 75 or whatever. Like, it doesn't even matter.
I came here as a kid. I'm from Earth, so of course I remember English. And then, Bob McMonster Hunter raised
Old Bob McMonster Hunter.
And that would have been totally fine. That would have been fine.
It would have taken a line.
And
singular.
And that's all I needed. I didn't need anything else. That would have been fine. But instead, you go with this whole, like, convoluted, I know I learned it from the other people that came through here. Like,
Yeah, it's weird, man. Super weird.
The movie made me so angry. And, like, Wonder Woman 1984 made me angry, too, for, like, all of the things that it did. Like, they stole that guy's body, and then they boned each other, and then she kind of like flirted with him. And why did he come back in that guy's body?
I don't know. Like, super weird.
That doesn't match any of the other wishes. Everyone's just getting like whatever the hell they want. Did Wonder Woman actually wish that just Trevor's spirit would show up and only she could see him? What the hell is wrong with this
movie's real bad.
Yeah.
Real bad.
Yeah. Thumbs down.
Charlie,
I wish I had two more hands.
So I could give those titties four thumbs down. You are not wrong at all. Oh, that being said, I feel everyone should watch Monster Hunter. It's not good. It's not good. But I really
watch Godzilla vs. Kong instead.
Oh, 100%. Like, that movie was fucking dope.
And if you've already seen it, just watch that again. You know what? No, just watch the end of that again. Don't even watch the whole movie again.
I would be really curious to see what, like, John would think of this movie. Because I don't think there was anything he would crazy
the
gory.
Fucking spiders? No, he would not have handled that at all.
No, okay.
No, the death in the beginning of the dude who got impaled and was like hauled up into the sky, impaled, and then tried to blow himself up. Like, yeah, it was awesome. Yeah, no, John's not into this, and I wanted to show him the Rathalos fight, and then I'm like, it's just because he thinks Rathalos is the coolest fucking thing, right?
Rathalos
he knows him
cool.
He knows him from Smash Brothers, and I was like, I was really hoping that I could at least do like what I want to do with. I'm going to show him the ending of Godzilla vs. Kong. So I'm not showing the rest of the movie because he's not going to understand it. Because nobody understands. It doesn't make any goddamn sense. But I'm going to show him the end because it's fucking cool watching these two fight. And then I was like, yeah, maybe I'll show him the Rathalos fight. And then it keeps going. I'm like, yeah, I don't know, man. This is all right, but I'll just show him Dragonheart.
I really do feel like this movie is made for like 10-year-old boys. I know John's not 10.
Yeah, maybe if he was a little older, sure.
But I feel if you're like a 10-year-old boy going into this movie, like you would come away like Penny came away, like 20 out of 10. This is the best movie I've ever seen. It's got creepy ass spiders, big fucking monsters, and it doesn't make any sense. And Rathalos is breathing fire, and they're shooting rocket launchers at Diablos. Like, there are worse ways to spend an hour and a half.
Yeah, but there are certainly better ways to spend an hour.
Oh my God, so many better ways. But this For James Marsh, I still have these up. James Marsh. This is like, who writes this kind of shit about Monster Hunter? Writing in the South China Morning Post. The film's overall visual aesthetic is a confused and derivative hodgepodge, and audience enjoyment will depend upon their affection for the oversaturated genre. Fuck James Marsh. That guy. Your fucking face is a confused and derivative hodgepodge. James Marsh. Fight me. Get out of here. It's Monster Hunter. Like, come on. What were you expecting?
Something better. No, I wasn't expecting something better. This was exactly
better,
as bad as I expected it to be.
Yeah. There is a much, much better Monster Hunter movie to be made.
Without question.
Because all this shit, like, all joking aside, there doesn't need to be much in the way of story, because the monster designs in Monster Hunter and the actual, like, gameplay of you work together and you team up and you take down the monster to upgrade your gear to take on bigger monsters. Like, that in and of itself is engaging enough of a story to where you really don't need to do much else. Like, that could have been your thing. Like, whatever your MacGuffin, like you said, throw a MacGuffin in there, whatever you want to do. Yeah.
Yeah, boo. All right, I'm tired of talking about this stupid fucking movie.
We're done.
We are done with this, but there is something else I wanted to hit before we called it quits. So last week's episode seemed to go over very well.
Yes.
The whole thingamahoo, and we had a lot of people come at us with their own lists, and I thought I would read a couple of them on the show.
Some very, very good lists. I was very happy about a lot of them.
So, Ferg, as we requested, oh my gosh, this was too hard. Here is my $100 list exactly. Adventure, Asteroids, Berserk, Bowling, Circus Atari, Cosmic Arc, great pick, Dragonfire, Kaboom, Maze Craze, Miniature Golf, Ms. Pac-Man, Pitfall 2, Space Invaders, Superman, Video Pinball, Warlords, and Yar's Revenge.
It's a solid fucking list.
That is a great list. Yeah, love it. Very well done, Ferg. Thank you very much. Superman was definitely a very solid pick on that list, because Superman's one of those games where it's like you play it and you're just like, I don't fucking get this. And then
this doesn't work.
You kind of learn what you're supposed to do, and then all of a sudden it's fun, because that's a lot of Atari games is you really have to read the instructions and do what the game wants you to do that the game can't tell you to do.
Yeah.
And once you figure it out, it's actually a pretty fun game. So no, that was a great list, Ferg. Well done. Let's see who else gave us one. I'm looking through our Discord right now. Reformat gave us one. Very short list. He just went for some heavy hitters right out the gate. Adventure, Berserk, Combat, Empire Strikes Back, Hero. I mean, Hero's great, but it's $48.
Yeah, Hero is great.
Pitfall 2,
$48.
Yeah, Pitfall 2 and Stargate. That's it. So, no, I can't argue with that.
Though.
That is a damn solid list right there. If you got those games with your Atari 2600, you'd be in pretty solid shape. I like it. Let's see. I know there's at least one more. All right, R.C. Metzger. Rob Metzger? Maybe? Oh, I'm so bad with names. What's the... Never mind. Either way, R.C. Metzger on our Discord. Here is his Atari list. He's got Adventure, Asteroids, Astro Blast, great pick, love Astro Blast, Atlantis, Berserk, Bowling, Defender, Demon Attack, Frogger, Joust, Missile Command, Moon Patrol, Ms. Pac-Man, Pole Position, River Raid, Video Pinball, and Yar's Revenge. Another outstanding list.
Yeah.
And that was it. Those were the only lists that we got. Very, very well done. Now Ferg was requesting that we do 7800, and it didn't make our list of consoles. I know we're keeping most of this stuff under wraps, but I just wanted to mention 7800 because Dan and I don't really know that platform very well.
I just don't. I mean, I can bullshit and lie to you about it if you want.
Yeah,
which is fine.
Our lists would not be thoughtful. And we wanted to do platforms that we could have a good conversation about and have thoughtful lists because we've spent time with those platforms. And I just don't know the 7800 all that well. I have one, but I only have like a handful of games for it. And it's got a weird library. Some of the more interesting stuff like Ninja Golf is expensive. And yeah, so unfortunately, neither of us have the expertise to really do a proper, do the 7800 justice. However, Ferg also mentioned that he wanted to steal this idea for his podcast, to which I say, Ferg, please do, because
Please.
I want to listen to it. I'm going to listen to your show anyway, because I listen to every episode of your show, but I would love to hear you take on the 7800 or the 5200 or any other console, really. Like, go nuts. Steal away.
Because as we have found, as Chris and I have started working on some of the other systems that are coming up, this is $100 was a stupid limit to set.
Yes, but it also makes for neat conversation. NES is going to be tough. I really haven't put any thought into mine yet, but there's been a lot of conversation about NES in the Discord chat, but yeah.
I did mine and I hate it, but I can't think of anything else.
Well,
I
tell
hate
you
what
what
I had to cut.
Well, yes, I'm going to hate that too, for sure, because there's a lot of NES games that I love. But that's going to be our show. And the reason that I haven't put any thought to the NES one, because I've been putting all my thought into next week's episode when Trivia Time returns. We will be hosting the members of the Dude, a Lord, and the Truth podcast to compete against Dan in some good old-fashioned trivia.
That's right. Chris has already given me the questions. So
I most certainly have not.
Fine.
Yeah, I just finished working on those earlier today. Actually, I feel pretty good about it. So this is going to be a little bit different, because it's going to be kind of like they're a team, and so they're representing their podcast, and Dan's representing our podcast. Is how this is really basically going to work. So like, one round is going to be Dan versus Mike, and then another round is going to be like Dan versus Dean, right? And it's going to keep going that way. And all their points will be for them, and all Dan's points will be for Dan, and that's how we're going to break this down. It's going to.
Do they get to help each other? Like, can one of them steal? If Dean gets a question wrong, can Mike steal?
No.
Okay.
Because that would be unfair.
Okay.
They're going to have to choose, like, before certain rounds, like who's going to go up against you.
Okay.
Right. So I'm going to say, this is what the round is. You get to choose who gets to fight, and then those other two players are not allowed to help. That's going to be fun. Anyways, I'm looking forward to it. Trivia is always fun, and fingers crossed, maybe we can do trivia more often once now that things seem to be settling in a little bit more of a normal fashion. Maybe we can do it more than like once every other year.
I feel like that's what makes them special, though.
That is true. They are quite special.
They are. They're always good. All right. Well, on that note, everybody fuck off. Oh, wait. Sorry. That's not how we... My bad.
We're on most social media platforms, and if you want to get in touch with us, we aren't very difficult to find. All it takes is a quick look at our show notes, and you'll see links to our social media accounts, as well as all manner of other fun stuff, like a link to our namesake, StoneAgeGamer.com, the Geekade Patreon, which helps keep this show running week after week, and more useful links than you can shake a joystick at. This show's theme song, Squared Roots, was written by Banjo Guy Ollie, who just covered Muda Kingdom from Super Mario Land, and it's wonderful. You can learn all about his wonderful music and more by following the link to his YouTube channel, also in the show notes. And finally, as always, we'd like to thank our intrepid editor, Evan, for making this show listenable for all you folks, and we'd like to thank all you folks for listening in the first place. That's it, everybody. On behalf of Dan and myself, keep playing games.